All right, everyone, welcome here. I'm actually with my old man today, owner of Cowboy Certified Plumbing and Water Cleanup. And today we're just going to be going over a Google search, kind of giving him a small education, not that he doesn't already know, but kind of give him a chance to ask me questions about the marketing, everything that's going to be spent, kind of what we're looking at in terms of, different avenues of getting jobs and just kind of all the different aspects of Google search where we can get jobs. So he's just going to be asking questions as they come up, similar questions that you guys would have in a video, and so that's what we're going to be doing here.
Good.
So what I've done is I've just done a simple search for plumber near me, and when someone's looking for a plumber, this is what's going to come up. It obviously looks a little bit different on mobile here, but when I'm talking about your Google LSA, Google local service ads, or just local search ads, this is what I'm talking about, this top section here. And this is pretty cool. It's definitely the cheapest, kind of best avenue right now for established businesses because you've got to have insurance, all that kind of stuff. You submitted all that paperwork to get Google verified. It's a little bit different now, but that's this section here. You can send a message to this business, you can book automatically, and then you can also call, and you only get charged when you have a qualified lead that does one of those three items.
Okay.
So that's the Google local service ads, and that's got the, right here you can see it's got its own, it does all the recording of the calls, it does all the tracking, and then you actually have to go in and rate and monitor all these leads, because if you have too many open leads, Google will just shut down completely and stop sending you leads. So it's very important when you're getting leads in this section that you're ranking them and then telling Google what's happening, whether you're booking them or not. They want to know. So
that gives the algorithm better information so that they know if what they're doing is correct.
Perfect. Because Google wants to send, and that's a great question, because Google, the reason it's so important is Google wants to know what's happening with the leads, and they want to make sure that they're sending people to an established, qualified business, because you can be spending as much as you want, but if people are getting mad and they don't know what's happening to these leads, they don't want people to start searching on different platforms. So they want to make sure that you're taking care of the customers, that you're booking a high percentage of leads, that you're answering the phone. All that's really important for the algorithm.
That makes sense because, honestly, in the past few months, I've really come to realize how important it is to Google that you're taking care of the customer and that they're really giving their customers who are searching for you the best bang for their buck. And that's really who they're focused on. And so from a company aspect, once you realize really where Google's coming from, the things that they do start to make so much more sense.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to tell Google what's happening, because there's so many different search platforms, whether it's Instagram, ChatGPT, whatever it is. Google's trying to hold on to their search platforms, and so obviously the more data you're giving to Google, the better.
Sure.
They're going to reward your company. That's why the website's so important, and we'll jump into all that. But the more data Google has, the better. So
gotcha.
That's this first section here, first sponsored section. It's usually going to show up first. Now we've got this second sponsored section, which is the old-fashioned Google ads, which a lot of controversy there. But then we also have this sponsored section, same company here, Pierre Point Plumbing out of Kansas City. So you can see both of these are sponsored sections and both of these are Google ads. And then we've got these other companies. We'll jump into that in a second. But so this is generally going to be the second section. This is the Google ads, and this is the pay-per-click, where a lot of people, and including yourself, I'm sure in the past, like get burned because it's not a guaranteed lead. It's not the LSA. That's why they've created the LSA to kind of get rid of some of that fluff. But so these are Google ads here, and then you pay. I would charge Pierpoint Plumbing if I were to click on this, their website directions, or the call us button.
Okay.
And so that's obviously they're going for the keyword plumber near me, but you get to pick your keywords, and this is a great way to get leads for people with kind of a larger budget, because the leads tend to be a little bit more expensive, and you have to have a quality company running these. You can't just hire the first guy you talk to. This is kind of a more in-depth program, but it is a great way to target specific leads. So with water damage or higher ticket jobs, sewer line replacements and stuff like that we're going to be going after, that's going to be where we really focus that budget. So
really get pinpoint down. Sure.
Yeah, because if you are going to spend money on plumbing leads, especially with Google Ads where you get to pick your keyword.
Mhm.
Like it's really important that you can afford to spend $100 or $150 sometimes in the beginning on a lead. And so like a sewer line replacement, $150, you'd be happy to
The
spend that.
static.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or a water damage claim. Yeah, 150
sure.
bucks. I mean, way better than a
Absolutely.
plumber's fee. So
Absolutely.
it's a little bit more expensive, but you just got to get the right leads in through that.
That makes sense.
So, and then this is the Google My Business or the local rankings. This is super important for my smaller companies. So this is your Google My Business. This is where I'm getting the reviews. We're setting up your programs for all the right keywords and stuff. But this is the Google My Business section. This is the free section. So it's really good, especially like you can kind of get ranking and get competitive within 6 months to a year of opening your business and get free leads in through this.
Okay.
And so that's really important. Obviously, you've been doing this for years, so you kind of know. But for some of my smaller companies, this is where you start. This is the Google My Business. This is where you can rank fast, where a lot of people end up calling around and getting those leads. So you can also schedule website directions, kind of the same as the local service ads, except for it's absolutely free, which is pretty exciting. As you can see, it's pretty competitive here in Kansas City, but depending on your market, you can really get involved in 3 to 6 months.
Well, and so from what I've experienced and kind of what you've educated me on, that really makes a difference when you can bring down that average cost, again, by diversifying those leads. So not having all your eggs in one basket. And that's kind of what you've taught me a lot of is being able to diversify and bring down those average costs for customers and really make yourself more efficient and profitable.
Absolutely. So, as a marketer, I focus on the paid leads. But as you know, like those free leads and those people that return business that's what makes the business from like, a great business to like, wow, this is profitable. And this is like what you get into business for. When you start getting that customer database and you start getting free leads through your website, through your Google My Business. Now it's going to take some time and constant work because it's ever changing. But yeah, this is where you turn your profitability way up. You're absolutely right. Last thing here. So 2 points to that. To start ranking, there's really 2 factors. So you've got your profile itself and then the website.
Okay.
So keep in mind, those are 2 separate things. But they equal together to give you your ranking for whatever keyword it may be. So you need to set up your profile and your website to match whatever keywords you're going for, which we've already kind of talked about. With the plumbing and water damage, obviously the plumbing is going to be a lot more important because there's a lot more search volume there.
Sure.
But also it's super important that we're hitting those water damage keywords as well. So you just got to do whatever service or whatever keywords are going to be most profitable for you. So this is the long-term SEO section. This is super, like, I'm sure you've heard about this since you kind of started in business. It's search engine optimization. So this is where your website ranks. Now the sales cycle on these keywords and on these searches tend to be a little bit longer because people have scrolled down, they're doing their research. It's not an emergency generally.
More in depth. Sure.
Yeah. And so this is like, you can see this is a perfect example of the sales cycle on the SEO. It's so important. It's a lot of effort and work, but you can see Yelp right here. You've got Angie's, you've got then your companies here, you've got Home Guide. And so this is where you get a lot of those lead vendors. And so people opt in to these websites. And then this is where you're getting those leads from, those Yelp, Angie's, Thumbtack, whatever you're using for leads. So this is where they're getting their leads, which is why the leads tend to be not the best sometimes, just because it's a longer sales cycle or, they're shared leads and stuff like that. But you can see here, we've got Roto-Rooter, Quorum Plumbing. And so they've gotten their websites to rank. And so ultimately that's where, we're going to be at kind of questions. So those are the 4 sections of Google. Like when someone says they're going to get you to the top of Google, it's important to ask what section, what they're going to be doing, what services they're providing, because they could just be talking about running ads or they could be talking about your website. And so you've just got to figure out when you're talking about marketing, what section is going to be best for you, and then kind of making a game plan forward. But ultimately, all 4 sections are really important.
So let me ask you, when you're working through these 4 different systems and kind of sections, do they feed off of each other? In other words, when you start to get traction on one, does that kind of correlate to others?
Absolutely. So the Google My Business is where you start. So that's this profile here, but this links directly to your LSA, and your website. Like your website isn't integrated with the Google My Business, and it's also integrated with the LSA. So those three are really infused to work together. The Google Ads are its own entity. Like you could run Google Ads and have jobs, but you've got to have the ability to convert those leads, whether it's on a landing page or your website, and track it and know that you're profitable. But you're completely correct. So like these three, the first, so the LSA, the Google My Business, and the website all correlate together. So the better one is, the better they're all going to be. And so the better your Google My Business is, the more LSA traction you'll get. Because the more reviews you have on your Google My Business, the more reviews you'll have on LSA, so on and so forth, the more people will see your profile and like it. Like you can see these companies here, they've got hundreds of reviews. Like you don't see any company on here. Sharp Plumbing out of Kansas City is the first one I see with kind of low reviews, and they've still got 134.
Sure.
And we're right next door to them. And so it's really important that like you start to Google My Business from day one and start working on it, because it'll never stop.
So question in regards to that, when you're looking at those 5-star reviews, is it more important to have volume or quality?
Yes.
Okay, both. Makes sense.
The answer is yes. And honestly, you know, it's more important that you're responding to all your reviews, that you're using keywords when you respond, because all of that is picked up by the algorithm. Like, it gets so in depth. And so that's why we respond to all of your reviews, all of my other clients' reviews, because I've trained our AI to respond, and with keywords, with SEO, with what service, what city, all of that. And so the more data, the more information that you give to Google, like the better it is. And it gets really in depth, obviously. But with that being said, it's all important. And so I know for a fact, like 4.7 is actually where the algorithm takes you down a notch. 4.8 and up, you stay in that top notch of the algorithm. 4.7 to 4.4 is the second, and then 4.4 and down is you're gonna have a hard time. You're gonna have a hard time getting anything done. Yeah, that's kind of the overall stick there. But there's obviously forever changing rules and forever changing information.
That seems to be the constant. Is there is no constant.
Yeah, and I mean, especially with the search, you know, additional search platforms, I don't know what's going to happen. I have some good ideas and predictability, but you know, it's just something that you've got to stay on top of. So, thanks guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.